In this video, we will create service and we will inject this service in a controller. So basic definition of a service is an object that provides service to other objects. This service will be a communication layer between controller and entity framework. But first, we will understand dependency injection in ASP.NET Core. In ASP.NET Core, it's very easy to create service even if you don't know dependency injection design pattern. ASP.NET Core supports the dependency injection software design pattern, which is a technique for achieving the inversion of control between classes and their dependencies. Now we will see what is a dependency. A dependency is an object that another object depends on. Let's understand with an example. You have one class, myDependency, and in this class you have one method, writeMessage. In example control class, you want to invoke method of myDependency class. So you have to create object of myDependency class. So example controller class creates and directly depend on myDependency class. These type of code dependencies are problematic and should be avoided for the following reason. To replace myDependency class with a different implementation, the example controller class must be modified. If myDependency class has dependencies, they must also be configured by example controller class. In a large project with a multiple classes depending on myDependency, the configuration code becomes scattered across the app. This implementation is difficult to unit test. The app should use a mock or stub myDependency class, which is not possible with this approach. Dependency injection addresses this problem through the use of an interface or base class to abstract the dependency implementation. Registration of the dependency in a service container. ASP.NET Core provides a built-in service container, iService provider. Services are typically registered in a app startup.configure service method. Injection of the service into the constructor of the class where it's used. The framework takes on the responsibility of creating an instance of the dependency and disposing of it when it's no longer needed. Now we will apply dependency injection on myDependency class. We will create interface myDependency that will have method signature. We will create a class that will implement that interface and will give implementation of interface methods. We will register this class and its interface in a startup file in a config service method. To register service, we will use extension method. There is a multiple way to register service. Service.addScope in angle bracket interface name and class name. We will inject this service in a controller. We will declare object private read-only myDependency. This is the type of this object and object name. We will use constructor injection. We will add dependency in a constructor and ASP.NET Core will inject this dependency whenever it create class. In a control class, you can see object type is interface. By using the DI pattern, the controller class does not use a concrete type myDependency class, only the myDependency interface it implements. That makes it easy to change the implementation that the controller uses without modifying the controller. Does not create an instance of myDependency class, it's created by DI container. By using this DI pattern, we will create three methods: add update article, delete article, get all article. And we will inject this service in a controller. Create a folder for interface. In this folder, we will add interface for service. Folder name iService. In this folder, we will add one interface for article, iarticle.cs. Namespace will be iService. Public interface name. Now we will declare method. In an interface, we cannot use access modifier. This method return type will be task. In a task, we will return article. This is our entity class. Import the task and article. So this method will accept ID. We will use ID to update the article, title, content, and author ID, and publish status. Second method, delete article, return type task, and it will return boolean, and it will accept ID. Method name should be add update article. In an interface, we cannot add access modifier, so I will remove public access modifier. Now we will add third method, return type task. In a task, we will return list List type will be a DTO class. I will create a DTO class for article. Method name get all article. Import collection namespace for list. Now we will create DTO class for article. Article DTO.cs. Namespace DTO. We will add property in this class later. And list type will be article DTO class. And we have to import DTO class namespace. Now we will create service. In a service folder, article service.js namespace will be service, public class article service. This service will implement iArticle service interface. We follow the naming convention for service and service interface. We add service word in a file name and in a class name. Interface name will become iArticle service. We use this naming convention for service. Import the interface. Click again on a yellow bulb and click on implement interface. It will create empty method. We will add functionality in this method later. Now we will register this service in a startup file in a configure service method. We can register service with three different lifetimes. There are three service lifetime in ASP.NET Core dependency injection. Transient services are created every time they are injected or requested. Scoped services are created per scope. In a web application, every web request creates a new separated service scope. That means scoped services are generally created per web request. Singleton services are created per DI container. They are created only one time per application and then used for the whole the application lifetime. Services.add scope. This is the lifetime of service. In angle bracket, interface name and its implemented class name. We know interface name is iArticle service and class name is article service. We have registered the service. Now we will inject this service in a article controller. We will declare an object and we will initialize from constructor. Object type is iArticle service. We use read only. It will prevent accidentally assigning a new value. In the next video, we will add a functionality in this method.